Hey guys, welcome back. Now here today I'm going to talk about various activation functions that is available to us inside TensorFlow library. Now before we get started about various activation functions that are available to us, so let me give a quick overview as what are these activation functions and why it is actually necessary for us to learn when we are working on deep learning models. Okay, let's consider this simple scenario. The simple scenario here says I'm having a perceptron. Okay, so when I say perceptron, it's actually a single neuron, and let's assume it takes two inputs. I'll say x1 and x2. So these are the two inputs that this perceptron takes, and let's assume w1, w2 are their respective weights. And along with the weights, this neuron has its own bias term. So I hope you guys are aware of bias term. If you're not aware, please let me know in the comment section and I'll be happy to add one more video to explain about the importance of bias term when it comes to deep learning. Okay, coming back to the topic. So we have a bias B term and something will happen inside this neuron. Okay, some calculation, something will happen and it's going to give me an output for this neuron. And I'll say it as y hat. So x1, x2 are inputs. This is a neuron, which is a perceptron, and y hat is my output. Now, one black box that we have is, okay, what is happening over here? So what the hell that is happening over here, which is actually processing my input and giving me the output? So let's analyze and let's have a deep dive over there and see what is happening inside it. So if we actually deep dive inside this, it actually performs two important things. One, it is called as linear summation. Okay, I'll say linear summation, and the another one is called as activation. Now, let's define what is the summation. Summation is nothing but the dot product between my weight terms as well as my input terms. Now if I want to represent it with the help of summation sigma, so I'll say that sigma I is equal to 1 to n wi xi plus b. So this is what happens in the summation step. So I'll take the dot product between my weights and the inputs and I'll add the bias term of my neuron, and this is going to perform the activity of summation. Now once I have the output for summation, I'll send this output to a mathematical function where I'll be performing an activation. Now the question is, why should I apply this activation? Let's take up a use case. Let's say I'm having a use case. Okay, so this is a use case that I'm having where I'm having an image of cat. Now I want to classify this image of cat to say it as, okay, this has an image of cat. Simple guys, it's very simple. I want to say that this contains the image of cat and not the image of dog. That means I want to classify a given image to either whether it contains cat or a dog. It's a simple binary classifier. Now when I say simple binary classifier, obviously if I want to represent it in terms of numbers, I'll say binary classifier can be have only one of two classes. It could be either 0 or 1. Now if I'm expecting my single neuron, which I had written already, to give me the output in the range of 0 to 1, I have to make sure that my real values or the parameters that are being found out for my input data should make sure that it is in the range of 0 to 1. But obviously we cannot control it because we have to make sure that the parameters are getting trained. I cannot just limit then and there itself. So the only way that I can control the range of my output is with the help of activation function. Now for this example, I can make use of a sigmoid activation function, and this sigmoid activation function is given by 1 over 1 plus e power minus z, where this z is nothing but the summation that we have just found out. So this is the summation. And if I just want to write it for our previous neuron, which takes two inputs, I can say that z is equal to w1 x1 plus w2 x2 plus bias term. And whatever the value that I'm going to get for z, I'll send it for this equation in place of z for this sigmoid equation, and I'm going to get the output in the range of 0 to 1. So what I have essentially done is I have scaled down the values to my required range so that when I pass in any real value, no matter what the real value that I'll be sending over there, I'll be getting my output in my required range. And another example that I can give is, let's say if I'm working for the task of regression and I'm interested to predict the real numbers, but I don't want the real numbers to be negative numbers. Now in such scenarios, what I can do is I can simply make use of ReLU activation function and then send this any real value to this ReLU activation function, which will actually going to output the value of 0 if I'm sending negative numbers, and it's going to give the same result itself, that is x itself or the z itself, when I'm sending the max, when I'm sending this value. So the activation function of ReLU, as you know already, it's given by max of 0 comma x. So if the value is less than 0, it's going to return the 0. If the value is greater than 0, obviously it's going to return the same value. And that's one of the applications that you have for regression task. And coming to multi-class classification, obviously we have softmax activation function, which actually gives us the probability of each classes. So this is one of the very common activation functions that we'll be using. So like this, we have many other activation functions that are available to us in TensorFlow library, guys. So let's go to the documentation page and let's look at some of the important activation functions that are actually available to us and also how we can actually use it in our code. So let's go there. Okay, so I'm now in the official page of Keras TensorFlow activation functions, and this is the overview page, and here it actually displays about the various activation functions that we have. So we have ELU activation function, which is nothing but exponential linear unit, and we also have exponential activation function. We have GALU, which actually applies the Gaussian error, which is a Gaussian error linear unit activation function, guys. And we have ReLU activation function, which is one of the very famous activation function when it comes to the task of computer vision. And we'll make use of CELU activation function, which is very similar to ELU, but we have the option of scaling. So we can control the scaling when we are working with CELU activation function. And we have sigmoid activation function, which is given by 1 over 1 plus e power minus x, where x is the input that I'm sending for this activation function. And softmax, which will actually convert a vector of values into a probability distribution. And we also have soft plus, swish, and tanh. So let's do one thing. I'll click on this tanh activation function and let's explore what is present inside this. So this is the activation function that we have, and we have some examples over here. So here we are creating a tensor, which is a constant tensor with a data type of float32, and here to apply this activation function, I'm just sending in my tensors into this keras.activations.tanh. That's it, send in the input, we have the output. Now let's do this. Let's look at the documentation of softmax. So this softmax activation function, it works in the same manner, guys. It says the elements of output vector are in the range of 0 to 1 and it is going to sum up to 1. So that will be the output that we can expect. So if we look at the examples, so I'm just generating some tensor which is having the shape as 32, 10 using random.normal function, and on top of this I'm just applying the softmax on top of it, and here I'm just performing the tf.reduce sums on the output that I'm getting. And as we can clearly see, when we just perform the sum as a result of applying my softmax activation function, the output is 1. This would prove that this is going to result, or this is going to give us a probability distribution. And one of the common way that we will be using the softmax activation function is, let's say if I'm creating layers. So here in this example, I'm creating my layers as dense. I'm specifying the number of neurons as 32, and the activation, we can say activation is equal to keras.activations.softmax, or I can simply call it as softmax, and the TensorFlow will actually call this activation function in the backend. Alright, so this was about quick overview about various activation functions that we have inside TensorFlow. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Share the video, like the video, and subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time, guys.